Well, I'm out here turkey hunting, and it's pretty slow, so I figured I'd record a video for you guys. I think I see a trend happening with a lot of guys that are so focused on very small details on a property without actually first dealing with the underlying issues. There's a property that I've been on before that did some work for in the past that the guy was extremely concerned about a handful of white oaks. And he had, I think it was 40 or 60 acres maybe, and a lot of big mature timber. And I was recommending that we do a pretty hard harvest on it and get some, regeneration going. And a lot of it was mature white oaks and red oaks. And he pushed back, and ultimately, we did what the client wanted. But he really wanted the white oaks to remain standing. And once I started talking to him, though, I asked him, so what kind of deer are you seeing now? And they saw, throughout the entire gun season, 2 deer, one little 6-pointer. And that was with a bunch of guys hunting it, too. And, it kind of comes down to, I don't care, white oaks aren't going to help you. I mean, they have the white oaks now, and they're still not seeing deer. So if you are going to allow a handful of white oaks to stop you from doing a harvest that actually is going to make a difference and give you that base layer of cover and have that regen happening, have bedding happening on your property, and begin hunting your property right, those white oaks don't make a difference. I've seen it with, guys concerned about little pawpaw trees or, the tiniest little details on a property. If you do not have that base level of cover and holding potential in your property and access figured out, all these minute little things don't matter. My personal property, we cut that property really hard. And, it scared me at first, to be honest. And, I love timber, I love trees, I like mature trees, but ultimately I knew that was what was going to give me results. And there are still white oaks on there, but they're not big, they don't produce a lot of acorns. And you know what, I don't care. The acorns, for one, is a very, pretty small window for the white oaks. Second of all, when you have white oaks mature enough to produce acorns, typically you don't have the cover, and on most properties you do not have enough space to allow for, a ton of cover as well as areas with mature white oaks. Now, if you're dealing with several hundred acres, yeah, you can get away with a little bit more of that. There's nothing wrong with having some white oak ridges, some, areas, and I'm not saying that we're going to cut, that you should go through and cut every white oak. That's not at all what I'm saying. But until you have that base layer of cover and you begin to address some of these base issues, you're not going to see the results that you're looking for. And, I've seen, you can even go into the discussion of invasives. And that's another thing I'm not terribly concerned about. For one, there's been a lot of studies done that show your level of ability to actually contain that on any scale is almost zero. Now, you can spot treat stuff and get away with that. But, if you get too concerned about some of that invasive stuff, the saying goes, today's invasives are tomorrow's natives, and you see that a lot. And I was on a property several weeks ago that had a huge amount of autumn olive, and while that's not ideal, that was the only thing that was growing there at the time. We're going to take out some timber there and open some of that canopy up, and that's going to allow some other stuff to come in there. But there again, if you take out all the autumn olive, there was no cover there at all, and that's what was holding the deer and the turkeys and all the other wildlife. If you take that out, you don't have nothing. And I think the other thing too, on the other end of the spectrum, you have guys that think, well, I got big mature timber, you know, I've heard the saying where, well, there's trees, you know, there's going to be deer there. That's just not how it works. Yeah, if you take away all the hunting pressure and there's, you know, nobody walking on a property for 10 years, yeah, there's deer going to be using that, because that is the one of those base layers. If you can affect the pressure, and if there's no pressure on a property, you're going to begin utilizing it, even if the habitat is not ideal. But when you begin to apply any amount of pressure, specifically hunting pressure, even one guy on 100 acres, you begin to have that cover, that base layer of cover, for one, to, you know, have the deer spread out a little bit more, utilizing more of the property. You're not as apt to bump deer going in, and there's so many benefits of having that base layer of cover. So the main thing I wanted to leave with you guys is, you know, don't get caught up in all these, you know, small habitat improvements that really don't amount to anything, especially when you don't have those base layers covered first. Now, you know, I'm in the stage now where we did a timber harvest. We have plenty of cover. We have thick cover, and I would even say that the cover, that layer of cover, is more important than food. My property, I haven't had food on there for several years, and this will be the first year that I'm adding in food now. Now, I would have liked to earlier, and that was simply due to, on this one here, it was permission at the time and wasn't able to. I am now, but I was still having tremendous success on that property simply because that base layer was there. If you start adding food, some of these other things without that base of cover, it's not going to go well. I've hunted so many properties like that, and you're pulling in deer from the neighbors where they're actually bedding. You're not seeing any daylight activity, for sure, not on mature bucks. So, yeah. Let's see if we can strike up a gobbler. Nothing. That's how my day's going so far. But anyways, hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you enjoy this content and want to see more, you can like the video. Definitely helps with the algorithm, pushes it to more people. You can like, subscribe. I'd appreciate that. Thank you so much for the 1,000 subscribers already, and we will see you in the next one.